Welcome, everyone, to Totally Whiskey and Wine. I'm your host, Jason, and with me, as always, is our intermediate, James, and our industry professional, Zach. So today, we are going to be reviewing the Redwood Empire Haystack Bourbon. So, Zach, why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so this is Redwood Empire's first attempt at a specifically grain-to-glass single-barrel product. As they were a very small whiskey company prior to the pandemic, they were mainly sourcing through MGP and then blending in their own stuff. Their total company consumption of MGP is roughly about 30% right now. Their smaller releases like our Screaming Titan and now this are all grain-to-glass, while mainline releases like the Pipe Dream, Emerald Giant, Lost Monarch, which is their main core three products, still blend in MGP. However, this is our first real attempt at seeing what we can get from them with the Russian Aquifer water. They're located out of Sonoma County, California. This particular bottle, however, 8 years old, barrel number 1364, proof 118. The mash bill contains 72% corn, 18% rye, 5% wheat, and 5% malted barley. I'm sure the malted barley is only in there to help jumpstart fermentation in the actual, what we would call the wash or the beer. You're really looking for flavor out of that rye, corn, and wheat when we're looking at this at the end of the day. The barley is going to be kind of subdued by everything else. So we should see some pretty good results out of this. I'll have some initial bias here. They're like my second favorite distillery. So I kind of made my company go out of their way in getting this for me. Had to send a couple of emails. But I'm super excited for this. I hope you all enjoyed it.
It was awesome.
Let's hop into it then.
Yep. So for this Redwood Empire Haystack Bourbon, what did we score it? Drum roll, please. 81. That's right. We gave it an 81 overall. So the way we score it is we blind taste it, and then we score in 4 categories: the nose, mouthfeel, flavor, and finally the finish. Each one of us is going to rate in each of those categories up to 25 points, then add all our points together to get up to 100 individually, and then we add our scores together, average them out to get our total. So let's talk about how we got each of those scores. We're going to start with the nose. So I'll start out for the nose. I kind of got some sugary and fruity scent to it. I couldn't really identify what fruit or a specific sugar, but a very sugary, fruity kind of smell to it. And I really enjoyed the nose. I gave it a 20 for the nose. That was actually the highest score I gave it.
So it's all downhill from here for you.
Yes.
So for me, this is probably my average score. I gave the nose a 22 with nasal notes of clove, cedar, maple syrup, and nectarines. A little bit spicy on here, which I think the rye is overcompensating in this beverage for me. Full disclosure, I thought this was the rye at first because we have both of these on set. It's not. It's the bourbon. So there is a fair amount of spice going on here. So you rye haters, suck it, but also beware. What'd you get, James?
So nose-wise, I gave it a 22. I get a lot of like tree wood, namely like hard pine, that kind of hard pine sort of hints on it. I think it smells a little over its proof. It comes in at 118 proof. I think it smells more like a 122, 125. I mean, it kind of smells up there. So it definitely comes across. So and it's been open and we give it a good swirl time. But yeah, so 22 for me.
All right, nice. So that then brings us to mouthfeel.
Ooh.
James, why don't you start us off?
So I'm going to give it a 22 on this one. It's nice, smooth, full, like a toasted cherry kind of like hits is what I really picked up in there, which is more of a flavor, but I still wrote it down. Like it just like that smoothness of like cherry smooth kind of. That's what it got me. Front tongue, mid tongue, about nice and even. I really liked it. So 22. Yep.
Okay.
So I gave this a 21 for mouthfeel, which is my lowest score on this particular product. Not too oily, not too thick, not too thin, but it's not lasting on my palate long enough for me to give it a higher score than that. It's inoffensive in a good way, but also that's to its detriment. I want it doing something more characteristic of the Redwood Empire brand, which is typically a thinner whiskey, but this kind of breaks away from the more, and that may be just the fact that it is a single barrel and not blended.
I'm most familiar with them at cask strength. I don't usually go and they sell it in regular strength now, bottled and bond strength now, at cask strength. Talking about their base 3, their Lost Monarch, Emerald Giant, Pipe Dream. So, and I usually go to their cask strength. So I'm not afraid when I think of Redwood Empire, I think of that cask strength kind of hit. And those 3 bottles, even in the 120s, I don't think hit quite as hard. This one's got, I mean, it comes in.
It's got a little roughness, and I'd hate to correct on episode, but they don't have bottled and bond. They only have the 107 on the pipe or the 101 on the Pipe Dream right now.
So far, that's the first one.
Yeah, so you have the baseline cask strength, and then their special releases.
It opens up different flavors.
I know. I think one of the special releases is bottled bond. That may be where you're getting that from.
Yeah. But I like that middle of the road now. Because I don't tend to like the low proof.
Yeah, I know you're more of a high proof guy. I like the high proofs in general myself.
They're definitely more approachable for an average customer, but the cask strength versions of them always just bring all that extra little hit for me that I'm looking for. And it doesn't cost more.
I think we're getting a little off topic.
That's all right.
So tangent, let's cut it.
Yep.
Let's continue.
Yeah, so I actually, on mouthfeel, that was the lowest I scored it. To be honest, I wasn't really a fan of it. It didn't hit my mouth in all the places the way I wanted to. And I don't know if that, probably just me, but it didn't give me a good feel all the way through. I kind of felt it was a little average in that sense, so I give it a 14.
Okay.
All right. That brings us to flavor. Once again, I'm going to start off with the flavor. Flavor, I give it a bump, a little bit of a bump. I give it an 18. I could almost taste the heat from that strength. Yep. And I did taste, I don't know exactly the wood, but I tasted like a woody flavor to it, and that I enjoyed. So that, that gave me a little, all right, let's bump it up and give it an 18.
So I gave this my second highest marks at a 23 for flavor, with primary notes of a general smokiness, pine tar, and pepper. Fleeting thoughts of cinnamon as we exit, and that'll be more relevant in the finish here. But overall, the flavor here, it's been getting better. When this was neck pours, I would have dismissed this as first. I was unsatisfied with my purchase initially at neck pour. But as this has gotten a little bit of time to oxidize, break down those initial tannins and allow it to open up, I'm getting more flavors that I'm enjoying out of this product.
Nice.
So on the flavor here, I gave it a 21. Like both of you, I get like a hard pine wood forest, a little bit of cedar planky kind of taste into it. So
that
I had a hard time. It's just all of it falls in these earthy, woody kind of tastes for me. So maybe like cinnamon is kind of woody, earthy. Kind of, so there's just a lot of little subtleties in there. I couldn't put a one word for any one specific one. It was hitting all those. It was nothing outside, not peaty, not marshy, not really damp or grainy. It was all in these like woods, pines, forests.
And that's why I just said wood. Because I couldn't distinguish.
It took me, that's the hardest one I was
trying to you keep mentioning earthy. Could you think of like any kind of mushrooms at all?
It didn't come to mind, so now if I retaste.
Maybe?
No, not for mushrooms for me. I think of like this dry, like kind of like a sort of a punky taste.
Kind of like if you were like in a pencil box, maybe, where you have a little bit of that graphite and cedar.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I can actually pick that up.
Usually earthy.
I'm throwing her on wine notes, so I'm just trying to confuse you right now.
Yeah, but no, I could kind of taste it.
I don't think I pick up mushroomy. And what I think of in mushroom, what I think of as a mushroom, when I tasted a mushroom and what that has is stuff something to me. It's still that earthy, and if I'm calling woody, so.
Okay.
All right, let's jump on to finish.
We're going to go to finish.
Finish with the finish.
Yep. So, for finish. It lingered a little bit, but like Zach said earlier, it didn't last long enough, which...
Oh, I didn't say that.
Well, for me, it didn't last long enough. In my opinion, it kind of died away, and it didn't leave me wanting to go back time and time again to drink that. I enjoyed it, but it didn't make me want to go back, like some of the others we had. And again, that's probably because I have a preference for rye, I think, as opposed to the bourbons. So I give it a 15.
So, to totally contradict Jason here and nearly give it a perfect score, the finish, I gave it a 24. Quite frankly, the notes of cinnamon and the corn especially flashes here at the back end. I think cinnamon roll, where I'm getting a little bit of that dairy sweetness, maybe a little bit of cream. The cinnamon just goes full force on the back end of the palate, and it just whispers on the tongue. Not to say that this is nearly perfect, but it's nearly perfect on the back end. Like, this is something that I like leaving my tongue better than entering my tongue. And that's a weird thing to say because you have to get it back in to get it back out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. So I gave it a 21. I said it's full, nice throat. I get a reasonable hug from it on the bigger sips. I get like a powdered sugared donut kind of finish, late finish.
Yes,
powdered sugar donut.
Super sugary.
Like when you think of a regular old school powder, not any particular brand, it's a powdered sugar donut. The way, like after you've done eating it, that finish that's in your mouth, this gives me that sort of taste at the very backside. So powdered donut, and I'm going to make one more note as we've all talked about it. We're finishing through this episode. We're almost done here. The last sip. Air is definitely changing this a good bit. Even swirling it around, working on this, as I get further through the sip, and I'm just the last sip of the glass, I'm liking it more. Air helps this. Swirl it in your glass.
I will agree with you.
Time with it.
I will agree with you on that. I'm liking a little more. So you know what? I'm going to revise my score and give it 2 more points, so my individual score becomes a 69.
Oh, fancy!
So
that brings up. Yeah, I think it's we maybe went through it too. I mean, trying to get an episode in, we went through it kind of quick. I'm not afraid of sitting in a chair and enjoying this through. A dram or 2 of this is going to be an excellent experience. It's tricky to.
I would definitely sit down with this and enjoy it. Not my favorite, but I would still.
And let's
enjoy it.
comment real fast. The nature of single barrels means that this could be different from something you all purchase.
Mm-hmm.
The mash bill may be entirely the same, but maybe the way it interacts with the oak, the tightness of the grain, is going to allow it to mature totally differently. Because these are 8 years.
There's some variability.
That's a lot of time to either fuck things up or make a happy.
If you voted 9, we'd all be sucking trees.
Probably.
Like, whoa, we're hitting the woody thing.
Yeah,
like, definitely.
You might get
really
more that.
Yeah, I think they pulled it out like
gotta come out
105% from the oven.
Yeah, we gotta get it out.
Like if this was, I hate to say it, but if this was a blend of anything between 6 and 8, it'd be fucking perfect.
If you pulled a little bit of that younger kind of stuff and threw it into there,
maybe
that'd probably bring it up even more.
We might have to do that just for ourselves and blend it.
And so one fun thing that I was looking at, right, because I checked out this mash bill. I thought it was very similar to something I had previously tasted.
Yeah.
You know what this is only 2% different from? Pipe Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
The Pipe Dream is just a little bit less, it's a little bit more corn to make it a bourbon.
Yeah.
And then
the years are probably not.
Pipe Dream's probably not quite the age. And not quite the age, but
maybe that's why they're pulling it out.
It's a little bit less wheat, a little bit less rye, and more malted barley in the Pipe Dream. I believe we can go ahead and pull up the mash bills on screen. But this is nearly identical to it in terms of mash bill. I don't know if the yeast they use or how they cooperage the barrels. And obviously that has MGP and this doesn't. But same master distiller, same master blender talking about this. Blender probably not involved in a single barrel. But there's a lot to be said that they have a pretty good winning mash bill with their best-selling bourbon. And they're the fastest-growing whiskey distillery in North America at the moment. California whiskey's blowing up. This and Frey Ranch is the reason why. They've got a winning boat on this.
Cool.
So I'm thoroughly satisfied.
Even just the dry glass, that dry glass sniff is all woods.
Yep.
Woody smells, earthy smells, and not heavy fruits. I don't get heavy fruits in it really. No. It sticks me right in that plank, like cedar plank, drying wood, toasted carpentry. Kind of that does all those woody kind of notes is what
definitely reminds me of a wood shop.
So
pine, and probably pine heavy.
Yep.
I guess to bring another question to this, you and I have bought a bottle. You have not.
No.
What would we be comfortable paying for a bottle of this?
For this, like I said, I out of all of us, I was the lowest. But I would still probably spend 50 to 60. on a bottle like that.
Yeah, tasting this now, I have one. I know what I paid for it, but tasting it, the price point on this is probably 120, 125 bucks kind of thing to get that sort of flavor.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't so heavily, if there was just a little bit outside the wood, if I got more like caramel, maple, vanilla,
Or if
I
I
don't
can pull
get
out
as
the
much
fruit a
cinnamon
little
as
more.
you get, or boom, I got like a little bit, even a little bit more cherry or something. I'd probably bump that up another 20 bucks or so. But I think I can find it's very heavily woody.
Yeah.
It's probably.
I think you might get lucky in a liquor store and find a bottle of this sitting around.
Yeah.
But if you go to
it's
like
$250.
Unicorn or something, it's gonna be way more than that.
Yeah.
Unicorn will be 4 times.
Way much.
Yeah, they weren't affordable.
So
They're rare.
I think I'd be comfortable 150, and that's where I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not happy to buy it, but I'd buy it.
Yeah.
The MSRP on this is like 129.
That's why I'm going to
Fairly
use my 50% off card, right?
Yeah, people want them bad. I've seen them on the auction sites. People want them.
Well, and they only produce about 4 barrels a day of this. So to distribute 4 barrels a day across the United States, good luck.
Yeah, you're not getting it that easily. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's why people are paying an arm and a leg for them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I recommend.
Barrel 1364.
Yep.
So they made at least 1,365 of them.
Yeah.
So to continue the conversation here,
Mhm.
develop a relationship with your local liquor store.
Yep.
Request this. See if they can't get it, or see if they know somebody who does. That's the way you get these things.
I can see maybe another 30, 60 days on that bottle. Come back and visit it.
It might be even better than
Yeah.
Yeah, it could get a little bit better. You could get another 5%.
That might
The other.
that might improve my
little
my
less
score
score
too.
maybe, but I can't see it going too far beyond that.
Right.
So
Anyway, that's our review of the Redwood Empire Haystack Bourbon. So, whatever you're drinking out there, we hope you enjoy. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.